about to get into the taking down of Trump's tariffs, and we're about to get a full explanation of what's going on and Trump's plans going forward. So let's get right into it. And this is going to be a short live, or try to make it short. Not really feeling too well, but let's get right into it. And we're also going to get into that Tucker Carlson interview as well. Don't worry. Let's get on.
Wow, a lot of people. That's a new record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much for being here. The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been...
the dissenting opinions, or the Supreme Justices that voted in Trump's favor was pretty much like, I don't even know why y'all doing this. One is like you're trying to take away leverage from the president that he's used in the favor of America. Two, all of the predictions that the left came up with, like, oh, it's going to tank the economy, lead to high prices, like recession. None of that came true. Oh, inflationary, that didn't come true either. So what was the real point of striking it down? Honestly, it was to align with corporate interests, in my personal opinion. But we'll see as time goes on.
Ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing.
And here's the other pointless point of striking it down. Remember, they only struck down, what was it? The IEEPA route. They took down one route of Trump's tariffs. He still got Section 301, Section 232. He still got Section 122 that he can go off of. Well, he actually went off Section 122 right now with the 10% global tariffs that will be enacted within 72 hours.
For long, that I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court. And it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular. When in fact, they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution.
I'm gonna be real with you, because instead of being for the American people, they played out to corporate interests, and that's just a fact of the matter. And here's the thing: it goes to prove, well, that yes, these American companies was taking on the brunt of the tariffs. Yeah, we knew that the importers are the ones that pay the tariff. That wasn't the argument. It was getting these bad actors to start switching over to, or to start relying on domestic industries or domestic producers instead of selling out to foreigners. But apparently they wanted to sell out to foreigners so bad that they was willing to, take it up with the courts. And, they won. Kind of.
It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it. We still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic national security. And also, I would say, just for our country itself, so important because we're doing so well as a country. We've never done so well. The good news is that there are.
Yeah, I mean, where's the arguments that tariffs were inflationary when inflation is down? Where's the argument that tariffs was going to cause a recession? GDP's up. So I'm gonna be real with you. If it was about the American people and helping the American people out by taking down the tariffs, I mean, that's a lie. That's not an argument. It just all aligns with corporate interest and them selling out the American people. And it seems like the corporate justice, I mean, not the corporate justice, but the Supreme Court justices are going along with it. Because guess who's going to be getting these refunds? Not us. No, y'all thought the cost was passed down to y'all. No, y'all won't be getting no tariff refund check. No, it's going to be the big corporate guys. It's going to be them. So guess what? I was right. You guys were shaking y'all ass in a circle for the corporate elites, and y'all fell for it. Now, billions of dollars is going to go back to them. Not you, but them. The same people that you wanted to raise taxes on. They could have passed that cost down to your ass as well. But I mean, hey, I guess you weren't trying to hear the common sense of what Trump was trying to do.
Methods, practices, statutes, and authorities as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy. I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said, you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things, but they've given us great national security, these tariffs have, and together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth, all of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. Guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected.
Told you.
We have alternatives.
Bruh, I mean, that's what I'm saying too. I was like, I ain't gonna lie. The way Trump was doing it, this way was the nice way. I mean, he has alternatives. Actually, I was surprised that he didn't use section what was it? Yeah, 232 instead. Like that would have been a way better way to carry out the sweeping tariffs, because you can definitely, I'm gonna be real with you. There's definitely a lot of I'll be real, a lot of our allies who claim to be allies who practice very duplicitous trade tactics. So we can't sit there and pretend like we don't have a case for that, and he couldn't invoke the tariffs that way as well. So yes, he has other options. That's why this wasn't really the win that, well, the Democrats framed it out to be. And guess what? They're gonna start calling this man a dictator because he's like, well, Trump is still using the tariffs, even though the Supreme Court struck him down. Wrong. The Supreme Court struck down the use of his tariffs under the IEEPA Act, which is the International Economic Emergency Powers Act. That's it. He still has full use of tariffs under the trade acts. Y'all gonna have to get down with that.
Great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off.
I mean, yeah, there was protecting the corporate interests of selling out Americans. And the funny thing is that the Dems played right into their hands. They cheered for the corporate elites or the corporate agenda. And, well, y'all fell for it. They said the tariffs are getting passed down to you, but no, the importers pay them. And if it's I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't know why maybe y'all need to go back to economics class, but I'm about to explain to you the value of competition in the market. Competition in the market is one of the main controllers of price. So when you guys sit there with that incorrect assumption that it gets passed down straight to the consumer, regardless of the market that it's in or industry, you guys sound pretty freaking dumb and ignorant. Because it does depend on competition. And a lot of these, guys are in pretty competitive markets, which means that they can't pass down the cost to the customer. And they're going to have to take it to the overhead, or they're going to go ahead and take it to the profit margin. And I mean, you kind of seen through some of the overhead costs, or I would say that laying off, of employees. That was their way of dealing with the tariffs. So, I mean, you could argue about that. But saying that it was directly passed down to the consumer through cost is a complete lie. And you don't know anything about competition in the market.
Any and all trade or business with that same country.
But like I said, hey, that's a macroeconomics topic for you when it comes to tariffs.
In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1.
Yep.
Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot.
And I told you guys about this during the beginning of these arguments. I was like, bro, they was literally saying that the man can't charge a 1% tariff, but he can go ahead and hit people with 100% embargo. And I'm just like, bro, what? Like, hold on. You're telling me he can't use the wooden stick? You want him to go straight to the steel rod? Like, what are we saying?
Charge them anything.
That was their argument.
Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that.
Yep.
It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. They've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right.
Oh, God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation. Double tapping that screen because I guess we got to give another lesson on how tariffs work. Because like I said, y'all forgot about the competition factor in the market. And you also forgot about the fact that, Trump has other options. He has other options to lay out these tariffs. I mean, he just laid one of them out, 10% global tariff. He's out to do that under Section 122 of the Trade Act.
Right to license, it's a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do. but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Whoever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people.
Like I said, the Supreme Court pretty much said, all right, you can't do a 1% tariff, but you can go ahead and pull on a full embargo on a country. And I'm just like, what? So they're pretty much saying, no, you don't halfway with them. It's either you leave them alone or you just cut them off completely. And I'm just like, well, we're trying to negotiate with them, not cut them off. But I mean, hey, man, just read the documents on this with the Supreme Court released under arguments. That's literally what they're saying. That's why it makes like literally no sense why they said it. And then also they only struck down, well, I mean, I would say like 25% of his tariff authority, because he can still go through the trade acts and all that good stuff. So I'm not really sure what was the point of it.
Never thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction. Probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%. But now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice.
Yep.
As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so well, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't. He's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging.
Yep.
So I'm going to just start.
I mean, like I said, one of the most dumbest things they said was, well, you can't charge a 1% tariff, but you could cut off a country completely with an embargo. And then they only struck down his use of the International Economic Powers Act. Yeah, they only struck down that. He can still use, sections of the Trade Act that Congress has allowed him. So he's not going outside the Constitution. So, yeah, I mean, I'll be real with you. I always did say his whole argument, or the Supreme Court's argument on his tariffs, was a straw man, because I'm like, yeah, well, that's a very small percentage of his authority to tariff. Like, he honestly could replace those tariffs under different sections of the Trade Act. He still has that authority. So when they struck down this small percentage, honestly, it kind of just showed the hand of the Supreme Court and how aligned of what corporate interests they are. And we're glad to know what side they are on. Like, now we know. Now we know.
Oh, I firmly disagree with the court's holding today. The decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301.
And maybe if you don't know, I'll just explain some of them to you. Section 232, Trade Expansion Act of 1962, which Congress passed, which allows the president, and pretty much they're national security based tariffs. And that's what he pretty much did for steel and aluminum and other section problems as well. I mean, he could also do that for his sweeping tariffs and just call them a concern of national security. And you want to know whose discretion that's at? Well, the Secretary of Commerce. And who's the Secretary of Commerce right now? Our very shady Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Yes, the one that pretty much lied about his acquaintance with Epstein. But outside the point, yes, it's up to his discretion on if these tariffs are on a good base of national security. And he can do that under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. He can do that. It's all within his authority. And all under discretion of the Secretary of Commerce, which is Howard Lutnick, who's standing right next to him.
And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear, but it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Cap.
Oh, and then also there is Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, which is passed by Congress, which allows the president to use tariffs tied to unfair trade practices. So if he determines that these are unfair trade practices by these countries, he can go ahead and invoke them right back again under Section 301 of the Trade Act. So yeah, and that's probably one of the strongest replacements for, the way he kind of hit everybody with that global tariff, the Liberation Day tariffs. Yeah, he didn't have to do under the Emergency Powers Act. He could have honestly just did Section 301, and that'd have been a pretty good one to hit him with, and we had a stronger case, honestly. But I mean, hey, it's a pretty smart move. Let them take down the weakest one, and he'll stick with the stronger case.
But for frankly, his genius and his great ability.
Maybe it was luck.
That appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful.
I mean, no, this comment says it all right here, bro. It's like, yeah, there's many ways to invoke tariffs. The Supreme Court just struck down one, and that's what you Dems got to understand.
Powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is. Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years, to the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs.
Yep.
And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect.
Yeah, and it does look like he's going to need to invoke Section 301 and Section 230. Well, yeah, Section 232. One is going to require an investigation to build more, durable arguments for tariffs, and that's probably going to be his best route. And like I said, it's at the discretion of the Commerce Secretary. Yeah, the Secretary of Commerce, which is Howard Lutnick, who's right beside the man right now. So I'm pretty sure he's going to go along with this, do the investigation, and they're going to pretty much substantiate a lot of these tariffs that was lost under the Supreme Court's decision.
Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
Yep.
Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward, we will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're a foreign country.
Yeah, not really working for the people, but working for corporate interests to be able to sell our jobs overseas. Well, or my bad, not sell our jobs, but push our jobs overseas. Yeah, that's what it was all for. Not for the American people, not to save you money, but to allow your jobs to continue to be transported overseas and allow these pretty much foreign goods to continue to flood our markets instead of depending on our, I don't know, the small businesses, the mom and pop shops and all that good stuff. It's kind of crazy that Dems were against it, but it is what it is. These are the guys that say, oh, we want to take out the corporate elites and we're the socialists and all that. But you guys pretty much worked hand in hand with the corporate elites when it came to tariffs. Crazy.
Centric. They were sending things into our country.
Good job.
And the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have a totally firm decision now. And I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now. And the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in there. Yep.
And I already made this argument earlier when the Supreme Court arguments first came up, or when it first got brought to the Supreme Court. I was like, you don't really have to, crash out on this, on the Economic Mercy Powers Act. Like I said, it was other routes he can go to get these tariffs off. And that's exactly what he's doing. Be real with you, it kind of seems like, the Supreme Court argument against Trump's tariffs was pretty much a straw man, because you're only attacking one way he can invoke tariffs, just one, not his overall power of being able to invoke tariffs, just one route. I mean, just for him to switch over to other routes? I mean, it was kind of a waste of their time in a way.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious.
Thank you
so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold?
I don't know, but they're great justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men.
Right.
With a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Congress to take additional action on tariffs now?
No, I don't need to. It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We're in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man, but a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, "Sir, I want to kiss you." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because we were down to working 1 hour a week. And then you came in and imposed tariffs. And all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts 7 days a week. And we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week."
Yeah, it has been announced that, well, I mean, it looks like we done tripled our steel production to the point we've outpaced Japan when it comes to steel production. And I mean, that's just the power of tariffs. It, honestly, not only did it keep these foreigners, well, not foreigner, I'm not going to go ahead and blame the whole world. I'm just going to go ahead and blame China. Let's be real. It's China. We're really trying to keep China steel out. But instead of just letting China's watered down steel flood our markets, we've now made, well, these guys who build buildings and other stuff depend on domestic steel producers instead of relying on Chinese steel producers. What does up the demand for U.S. steel, which is now why we're outpacing Japan, because we honestly had to create a demand for U.S. steel by driving up the prices of that watered up or that watered down steel that was coming out of China with the 55% tariffs. And this is what companies didn't want. For some reason, they rather sell out to foreign interests than actually help their fellow Americans. It is what it is, but hey, apparently the Dems were against that. Like I said, they kind of fell for the corporate interest or the corporate agenda, I like to say. What can I say? Y'all was working hand in hand with them, with your whole argument against tariffs, saying that it goes directly to the consumer. When think about it like this, when these tariff refunds happen, who is it going to go to? Not you guys. It's going to go to the what? American firms, aka the companies who are paying these tariffs in the first place and not really passing it down to the consumer. So, I mean, y'all were wrong on that, and y'all kind of helped them get their money back. So think about it. The very corporate elites that you guys hate, y'all just helped them get their money back. Good job, by the way, man. That's some, bro, I ain't gonna lie. That's some A1 brainwashing right there. You guys, shout out to the corporate elites. Chef's kiss.
He said, "Sir, I want to kiss you so badly." And I said, "No, thank you." But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, "Oh, this is a great place in Georgia." He said, "All up and down the highway, same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving."
I'm brainwashed? Hold on. Did y'all not wanted to raise corporate tax? Y'all were the ones who wanted to vote for Kamala because she was going to raise taxes on the corporate elites, right? And then for some reason now, y'all didn't see how that could get passed down to you. Know, they could have passed the cost down to you as well through raising the corporate tax. So here comes Trump pretty much hitting the corporate elites and punishing them for pretty much buying outside of America, sending their money outside, shipping their jobs outside. Here he is punishing them for that, and you guys are pretty much in line with the corporate elites to take that away. I mean, I'm brainwashed. You guys ran on going against the corporate elites, and here you guys are championing them, working for them, and I'm brainwashed? Bro, I feel like I'm more liberal than you guys now. I'm more liberal than the average Kamala Harris supporter at this point because I understood the agenda. F the corporate elites. They want to sell out our jobs. They do not care about the American people. Y'all was like, no, we want to help them get their money back. Son of a bitch. Who would have knew, bro? Who'd have knew I'd have been more of the liberal on this. MAGA would be more liberal than you guys when it came to the corporate elites. And then y'all want to complain about them and how much money they make. But y'all just champion them to get their money back. But I'm brainwashed. Okay, brother.
And we're hiring people like we haven't. He said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs. And we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market.
And here's the thing, though. We all agree that what Trump is saying is right. They've taken our market. They've taken a lot of jobs away from Americans. So what would be y'all way to get it back? Y'all don't have one. That's the funny thing about them. Y'all are arguing. You know, you agree with us that, you know what, you're right. No, these corporate elites are like they're pushing our jobs overseas. They're making bigger profits, and it's not really helping the American people. We all agree that's happening. What have y'all done? Nothing. But when Trump does something about it, you go against it. You work with the corporate elites to get the tariffs overturned. And it didn't even work out for you guys. It didn't work out. But it just exposed how brainwashed you guys are. Like I said, you were the same ones that wanted to raise taxes on these guys, which, and be real with you, that could have got passed down to you guys as well. But for some reason, Trump hit these guys with tariff, punishing them for pretty much going outside of America. And you guys are against that? But y'all were the same ones for raising taxes on them. And this is essentially a tax on them. And if you guys' argument saying that, oh, well, it can get passed on to the American consumer, so could any tax. So then what's your argument then? That we don't tax them at all? Like, it really makes sense what you're saying here. So if a tariff is a tax on the consumer, well, then guess what? So is a corporate tax. Any tax really on them, it could get passed down to us. So what are you saying? Just don't tax them at all. Because if that's what you're going for, no taxes at all, I might be with you on that.
In our cars, they manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place because nobody's standing in this position. The position I have as president of the United States had the insight, the courage. Well, I don't know what it is to charge tariffs. You can make your product outside. You can put our people out of business. You can put everybody on the unemployment rolls. But if you're going to make a car in some other country, you're going to pay a 15, 20, 30% tariff. And those things would have never happened. We wouldn't have lost our business. Same thing with, as an example, Taiwan. Taiwan came in. They stole our chip business. They make chips for 30 years longer. They made chip. And they put our companies. Intel would be now the largest company. I saved Intel. I literally saved it at the beginning of this administration. And now all those companies in Taiwan are building factories in Arizona, Texas, and various other places because they don't want to pay tariffs. They're all pouring into the United States. But just like that great patriot said yesterday, sir, what you've done, nobody thought was possible.
No, bro.
And
see, I mean, Justin, you're kind of stupid because everything you guys said was wrong. Think about it like this. You said that tariffs were going to tank the stock market. Stock markets have seen record high. You said it was inflationary. Inflation's down. I mean, come on now, bro. You got to admit when y'all were wrong. The tariffs wasn't a failure. Actually, everything you guys said about the tariffs, that's the failure. Y'all predictions were actually, those are what got the F mark. You said that was going to crash the market. We record high. Sorry, you got an F on that prediction, buddy. You said it was inflationary. Well, inflation's down. And to be real with you, gas prices went down as well. And other items on your grocery list. So you got an F on that prediction. Like, please tell me where tariffs failed at.
And Steve Moore, a highly respected economist, came into my office yesterday. He said, you've done something nobody's ever done.
Hey, yo, and shout out to my man for starting us off, man, the lunatic libertarian. He says, all centralized systems are failed. Man, look, bro, you know what? I'm about to be on your type of time tonight because these guys piss me off. It's like everybody sold out for the corporate agenda. Because trust me, even the Supreme Justices, like some of them are Republicans, so-called Republicans, sold out to the corporate agenda. They just wanted their money back. And then they sold this lie to the Dems talking about tariffs is a tax on the consumer. Like, bro, that means any tax is a tax on the consumer, bro. Anything can get passed down to us, you dumbass. It all equates to the cost of it. Like, are you serious? Like, at this point, bro, I'm starting to lose faith in some of these guys, bro. So some of them. Because there's just no way y'all just fell for this. Like, y'all got to be smarter than that.
Done. 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics said we would right now be in a recession. And you said, no, we're going to have a booming country. We're going to have a booming country. You were right. All 22 were wrong, and you were right. This country is booming, and it's booming because of the election on November 5th, and it's booming for another reason. It's booming because of tariffs. Yeah, please, go ahead.
What will you
said ahead of this
Thank you, Mr.
decision
President.
that if the Supreme
Yeah,
Court
please,
ruled
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships. I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And
so, I mean, bro, are you that dumb? Bro, Congress has appropriated powers to the president through the Trade Act, through the Trade Expansion Act. Like, bro, do you even know anything about the government? Before you make that argument, like, really think about what you just said. You're right. Congress gave or appropriated powers to the president to levy taxes and to also gave him tariffing power. Are you dumb? Yeah, everything was done through Congress. We know that. Like, I'm sorry, bro. You might be a bit uneducated, bro. Sit on your fingers for a little bit. I mean, you got to at least make some type of educated comments here. And I've been watching you for a minute, and you ain't saying out one thing that made sense. Like you and Justin, sadly.
Got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, Japan and Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back. And
bro, the Supreme Court doesn't agree with you. They don't. See, now I know you're really a dumbass. The Supreme Court don't agree with you on tariff being a failed plan. They agree with you on what? Do you even know what they struck down? The International Economic Emergency Powers Act. They do not agree with Trump using that as a reason to invoke tariffs. They don't agree with you that tariffs are a failure. Not at all. So, like, bro, go read or something. You sound retarded. If you really say, oh, the Supreme Court agrees with me, no, they don't. Like, they didn't even take an opinion on tariffs.
Record level. No, you please. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, yesterday you made the case that the economy is the hottest it's been in a long time.
Right.
January jobs report beat expectations, CPI report beat expectation, real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this, we really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision, but they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months, and that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Mm-hmm. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world.
All right, man. I'm doing a special tonight. So let's go ahead and debate the tariffs. I'm going to go ahead and post the call-in link, or the StreamYard link in the post tab. So go ahead and look out for that one. For anybody who disagrees or you agree, I'll go ahead and let you guys come up. We'll have a 5-minute little session, 5 to 10 minute debate. So, and we can talk about this because I want to see if you guys are as confident as you are in the, in the chat. Because I know, hey, a lot of people like to talk in the chat, but when you come up here and actually have to, expound or explain your point or elucidate your point, y'all kind of fall apart in your arguments, and we show how much ignorance you have on the matter or the subject. So please come on up. I'm a nice guy. I'll go easy on you.
Had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. know what we've done? I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, at some point you're going to say, like, and they have reduced it. Fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. President, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way. And we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time. But the end result is.
Yeah, what he's talking about is the Section 301 tariffs that would pretty much, he'd be able to invoke tariffs if he can find a strong case for unfair foreign trade tactics. So, and this investigation will be lumped up to the,